After the last few years of fairly disappointing releases, everything that Codemasters have said about F1 2016 has been like music to the ears of Formula 1 fans, with so many returning and new features coming to the game. I must admit that I've wanted to actually go hands-on with F1 2016 for quite a while now, and as part of an all-day event at Silverstone last week, with a bit of a track day thrown alongside it, we went on hands-on with the game, and it really is that big step up over 2015 that people will have been looking for. Most of what we've got in the video here is based on the career mode, which is making a big return with up to 10 seasons to play through, and it's quite a bit broader than previous games as well. You've got the ability to pick a custom avatar, for example. Unfortunately, there's no female driver avatars, which Codemasters Lee Mather explained just weren't quite ready in time for this game, but were definitely on the cards, and so we might actually see these next year or at some point in the future, and I think that'd be really nice to see that. You also get to pick your driver number and pick and customize the helmet design and colours that you want. The paddock and the motorhome are made to be much bigger deals than they were before as well, with people milling around, the odd famous UK broadcaster popping up in the background, and motion capture performances for your agent and technical director. Though they're not really giving Naughty Dog a run for their money, and the Ego engine still isn't that great at rendering convincing humans. It's an engine that does a lot better with cars, let's just put it that way. You get to start off with any team of your choice, and the race goals change to match the expectations for each team as a result. So Mercedes, you'll be expected to win. If you pick Haas, then maybe scrape through and get the odd point here and there, depending on how you're doing. And there's also the now traditional tussle to be better than your teammate through each race weekend and try and wrestle control of the number one driver spot from them. A big part of that now comes in practice sessions. If you're someone who loves to do a full race weekend during a career, which is entirely optional, you don't have to, and the game still caters to those who just want to dip in and do 3-lap races if you just want that. But for those that do love a full race weekend, the practice sessions have been made a lot more relevant to the actual racing and learning of the track. So there's several things that you can do, and all of these are then earning you points that can be spent to develop different parts of your car. Track acclimatization is just one of these, and it's a really good way of learning a track, it seems. You've got light form gates to try and drive through as you're going through a lap, but you don't just want to pass through them. You actually have to be trying to go fast and get the right speed, the right gears, and all of this. So you can actually go through a gate and still fail it, and then that blocks off that entire corner and the series of gates that you're trying to go through. You're looking to earn points for chaining them together, getting a big combo, and beating the target score. It's an interesting system, and I think it's actually one that, as Codemasters obviously intended, it should help people to learn to not just get around a lap, but to be able to be fast and be able to race through a lap and learn a particular track. You can say the same kind of thing about the tyre management, where you can go out and put in a stint on a particular set of tyres. You've got a bit of a meter at the top of the screen, and this resets at the start of each lap. From that point, it's then on you to try and look after that tyre as best you possibly can. If you want to keep it on the purple on the right hand side, obviously, and be kind to the tyres, but certain corners are always going to sap a bit of the life expectancy of a tyre away from it, just because you're going sideways, you're going fast. That's then backed up by being able to view some bits of data that show the tyre wear depreciating, the lap times that you've been able to put in, and so on. And this can be used to then create a custom strategy for the race, which maybe, because you've got the choice of 3 different tyre compounds at the start of a weekend, you can do something completely different to another team. Finally, of course, it's hot lap performance and getting practice qualifying sessions in. The races themselves have also been wrapped up in all of the latest trappings of the sport. You can actually do a formation lap for the first time, cruising around the circuit, trying to keep your tyres warm, and there's a new visual display format for this kind of information in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. The only thing about it is that the game manually takes over and lines you up on the grid as you get to the last corner, and I think that's kind of a shame. I'd love to have had full control at that point and been able to angle my car a little to, do the cheeky thing of cutting across the track and pushing someone off, not off, but to the side, so that you've got the advantage going into a corner. There's also the option to have manual starts now, and you have to hold the clutch and balance the throttle as you wait for the lights to go out, instead of what everybody did in previous games, which was just hold the throttle and be launched automatically. It's great to finally have this kind of thing in the game, and because the AI have to do it as well, it leads to more mixed up starts. You can get the jump on certain cars if you're lucky, and you won't necessarily just be diving up the inside into the first corner. There's a bit more nuance to it now. The safety car is back, with its cousin, the virtual safety car, which works in a really quite nice way, which is true to the sport as well. You have to keep to a particular lap and sector time delta so that you don't overspeed, you don't get an advantage and get closer to the car in front. It's effectively designed to neutralise the race until such a point that it can be resumed and everybody just picks up exactly where they were. But you do have a few seconds notice before the VSC goes away, and you can use that to get the drop on someone, as I did in the race in the background. And there's also now manual pit entries, making you brake hard to hit that 50 miles per hour speed limit before hitting the line into the pits, unless of course you want to get that drive-through penalty that you will for speeding in the pit lane. It all adds up to something that just feels a lot more authentic in all of the right places, I think. And it really builds on those foundations of F1 2015. That game had the cars, the slippy, slidey handling of the new turbo era, the tracks, decent visuals, but it didn't have all of the glitz and glamour of the sport. It didn't have the kind of crazy rules that you have to live by and all of the stuff that makes F1 be F1. And F1 2016 really manages to kind of capture all of these elements, I think. The same is true of the multiplayer, which now goes up to the full 22 players and banishes the nonsense of swapping laggy players with AI as there was last year. Completely gone, new netcode improved, all of this stuff. Honestly, I think the only real disappointment from the preview event was that the graphics just don't seem to match up with what we've seen in other racing games. Yes, some of those are exclusives like Forza or Drive Club or whatever, but you know, it's just not quite as good. And I have to say that I also hope that the frame rate can be shored up before launch in a month's time, because it was just a bit shaky at times. Aside from that, F1 2016 is really shaping up to be the Formula 1 game that people have wanted to see for far, far, far too long. That's all for this video, but I will leave you with, admittedly, not a very good lap around Baku, Azerbaijan from the recent Grand Prix, so you can see what that track is like in action. But for now, if you've enjoyed this video, please do click like. If you would like to see more videos like this, click on subscribe and head over to thesixaxis.com for our full written preview. One final thing, keep an eye out for another video later this week from F1 2016, which will tie into this coming weekend's German Grand Prix. I will not spoil anything about this, but rest assured that it is worth checking it out. Until then, goodbye!